on the right side of these things, but they burned her to a cinder, poor thing. I mean, I wouldn't have, if you saw someone get burned, I promise you, you'd keep your mouth shut after that. You know what I'm trying to say? How many in this room, if they saw a colleague, you know, get burned alive to a cinder, or drawn and quartered first and then burned alive or whatever, how many of you people would be quick to express an opinion after that? Well, I can tell you one who wouldn't be, me. I'm protected by Thomas Jefferson and the people that came prior to him, who argued the Bill of Rights and separation of church and state. You see, that's what's happening back. You know, that's just a hornet's nest of un-Jeffersonian universe, and this country just wasn't ready for it. I don't fault the government so much. You know, they didn't take our course here. If I taught, as I said, could have taught them an Islam course, could have raised their consciousness. I think they have, their motives are legitimate, even though the press says they're not, but I think they basically are. They just don't understand what they're dealing with. It's a noble effort. If we don't make the effort, life will end up, as I told you, with a nuclear bomb over here in Long Beach Harbor, so I don't have the answer to all this. You shouldn't bring medieval mindset people into the modern world and give them the utensils of the modern world that they can use the modern world against it, which is what's happening, including the oil monopolies and all the other things. So if you give them the modern world and all the benefits of the modern world, jet travel, computers, nuclear reactors and everything else, but you haven't brought their mindset into the world that created this, you're, you know, the Galilean, Newtonian universe that created this modern world, you're just in a situation that we're all in, which is, well, I think it's horrendous. It's the worst situation I've seen in my whole life. Almost as bad as the fascist situation back in the 30s. I don't envy you guys. But anyway, leave that alone. Go back to where we are. It's not as simple as these folks want to make out. So anyway, where were we before that excursions? We were talking about, get me back. Who, what? No, more specifically.
Talking about Mary and the Maccabees.
Oh yeah. Well, anyway. Oh, Muslims. Oh yeah. I was talking about the Muslims. I was talking about the Muslims. They mistake Mary for. I said, don't say this because you'll have to get your head chopped off, which is true. The Quran does think that Moses' sister Mary is Jesus' mother, and it misses 12 centuries of chronology in between because they have the same name. Anyway, that name comes from. At one point, Muhammad says has the angels say, "Oh, sister of Aaron," to Jesus' mother. I once had an argument with a Muslim when I was about 20, before I stopped arguing with people like that. He said, "How do you know Mary didn't have a brother called Aaron?" I said, okay, I quit. He says, God knows, you know not. All I know is you know not. And that was the end of the discussion. And today it would have, headlopping time would have come. But all I know is you know not. Okay, I don't know. But the point is that Mary, so this Mariam woman was the last Maccabean princess who Herod married as his favorite wife, and Josephus goes into a great deal about her in order to legitimatize himself. Forced marriage. And he had children from her. And then she never loved him is what the problem was. So at some point he accused her of adultery with a brother-in-law of his. Josephus goes into the whole thing. He loves gory detail like that. He spends chapter after chapter on this. And executes her. And the deal was that her brother, Jonathan, the last Maccabean prince, would be high priest. And Herod didn't like this last brother being high priest. It's all in Josephus. And when he got to be 13, a majority, whatever the age of majority was, he put on the high priestly vestments because Herod couldn't wear the high priestly vestments. He was a foreign king. And the people cried when they saw it. They all were so in awe and showed where their sympathies were. They were with the Maccabees. But Herod was a kind of incipient Saddam Hussein. And he was so angry at this that he had the boy taken down to Jericho and drowned in his swimming pool outside of Jericho. That was the end of the last. That was his deal with for the marriage, that the Maccabees would get the high priesthood through this brother of Miriam called Jonathan. And Herod reneged on that and had him drowned. Then he killed all the rest of the Maccabees. He killed, as he'd already killed Miriam. He killed his own children by Miriam. That will be, I think, the prelude to killing all the Jewish children in the gospel story of Jesus. He killed his own children by Miriam because the crowd, they had Maccabean blood. He killed Miriam's mother who had arranged it. He killed Miriam's uncle who had been the last Maccabean king who helped promote his father in his struggle with his brother. It's a very complex situation. It's all in Josephus. This is the background material that's useful to you. So he exterminated the Maccabean family out of jealousy and fear and whatever else. And he was a totally ruthless person. He married 10 wives. He had children all over the place, sort of like a Saudi kind of potentate, if you like. And some of them were Jewish wives. Two were, Miriam and another one who was the daughter of a high priest from Egypt that he had imported. The rest were non-Jewish wives, and so on. So this is the great Herod, who we hear was a Jewish king. We already went into that problem. But the point is that the Maccabees lasted around 63 BC. The followers of Jesus in the New Testament, many of them have Maccabean names. Jesus' mother is the favorite Maccabean princess name. She would have been born around the time that Miriam was executed. Miriam would have been executed around 30 BC or so. 30 BC. That is the Maccabean Miriam. Jesus' mother would have been probably born around that time. That's why you have so many Marys at that time, because they're all paying homage to the dead Maccabean princess who was beloved. Now, how many people study the New Testament know that point? How many in this class know that point? No, nobody knows it. Is it important? Yeah, of course it's important. Because it shows the mindset of the people. If I am naming all my people Arafat, if everyone's being named Arafat in my entourage, it means I have a particular affection for Arafat. Particularly if he either died or was around at this time. If I'm naming all my people Mary, it means I have a particular affection for the last great Mary, usually. And that is Maccabean princess who Herod killed and then killed his own children by him. Even the Roman emperor